Welcome back to TYT Sports on the Pluto TV. That is not Pluto. That is Francis Maxwell. I am Jason Rubin. We have a whole 3 stories to get into, and unfortunately the first is not exactly going to be dealing with the happiest of topics, but we promise later on we'll get into some stuff on Chelsea football and Conor McGregor. But to begin with, it's now, you're seeing this on Friday on Pluto TV, so the events that happened in Charlottesville on Saturday and their tragedy. If you're looking for more information as to what exactly happened, and at this point you still do not know, stay on the TYT Network channel. The main show has been talking about it all week long. So LeBron James was, and this is important context as to what he spoke out against President Trump, but that headline's a little bit misleading because I saw it, and I have nothing against Liz Plank. I think she works for Vox Media, but she said yesterday she also kind of grabbed it, and again, writes that LeBron James calls Trump, quote, so-called president. But that's the least important thing from what LeBron James said. The message is what's important. If you have a problem with LeBron James calling Donald Trump the so-called president, man, get your head out of your butthole. His message was very important and where he was saying it. So as for the message itself, lastly and last before I get off stage, before we all get off stage, I know there's a lot of tragic things happening in Charlottesville, Virginia. I just want to speak on it right now. I have this platform and I'm somebody that has a voice of command, and the only way for us to get better as a society and for us to get better as people as love. And that's the only way we're going to be able to conquer something as one. It's not about the guy that's the so-called president of the United States or whatever the case. It's not about a teacher that you don't like cares about what's going on with you every day. It's not about people that you just don't feel like want to give the best energy and effort to you. It's about us. It's about us looking in the mirror, kids all the way up to adults, all of us looking in the mirror and saying, what can we do better to help change? If we can all do that and give 110% and give both foots forward, then that's all you can ask for. So shout out to the innocent people in Charlottesville, Virginia, and shout out to everybody across the world that just want to be great and just want to love. Thank you, and I love you all. In a different series of tweets, he talked about how hate has always existed in America, and yes, we know that, but Donald Trump just made it fashionable again. He was saying that he made it fashionable again. He said this, and why I think this is so important, was to a crowd of 7,500 kids in Akron as part of the LeBron James Family Foundation, which has given out upwards of $80 million in over 2,300 scholarships to a university in Akron. So it's great that he said it there. I think it's not the first year he's done this. He does this annually, but he's been speaking out about social issues out at it once a year annually, aside from what he talks about on Twitter. And what's great about it is there's not a sole person in the world who can go, yeah, but what has LeBron James done? Well, he just finished up giving out more scholarships.
Well, that's what you find when you peel back the layer, which is other celebrities, they only care about themselves and making money. You soon see, oh, Chance the Rapper is doing more in Chicago than most of the political figures there. Oh, Colin Kaepernick's been doing this for months. Oh, Michael Bennett's been doing this. Like, it is now a true fact that if you're going to speak out on something, then you, more often than not, if you have that platform, you should be backing it up. I'm not saying I'm not going to tell someone how to spend their money, but I think that it's important to have those actions as well, and that goes for everyone. This whole question that I'm asked constantly, I look on my Facebook message list now, and then amidst the cucks, people are saying, what can I do? Like, I'm white, I feel powerless, and I feel responsible, and sometimes, I mean, I'll try to respond as much as I can, but it's like, I don't want those people who are trying to help to feel responsible. What they should feel responsible to do is to listen. If they know someone who maybe feels targeted by the goings on, listen to them and try to maybe convert 1 or 2 minds. So there's so many different layers of changing someone's approach to this. The President of the United States is not going to change his approach. He was given 3 days to come forth with a falsified condemnation of something that he truly just does not believe in. So to hang on that and to think that all is lost because the President of the United States would rather appeal to the alt-right than he would to the general consensus of America, then you're going to be falling down a very, very dark and deep rabbit hole.
And by the way, it's like, just as quick of an example is the people who sit behind keyboards and type away death threats to anybody in a comment section or on Twitter or on social media. It's easier to hate. It makes you feel, I think hate can cause you to feel a little bit more empowered when it really shouldn't, but it can't make you feel good.
Yeah.
And LeBron's message, it's not like the most deep intellectual speech you're gonna hear. Like he really does, to me it was about just accountability.
Yeah.
Hold yourselves accountable, hold your friends accountable, hold your family accountable, and just ask yourself, what could you do better for change? You said that people were messaging you saying, what could they do? There's a lot you can do that doesn't even take a lot of time and also takes no money. You can volunteer for certain things. And just because there's, unfortunately, as I put yesterday, a massive effing racial wound that won't find its way to healing itself on its own, as Jon Stewart said at one point, not too long ago in terms of the Charleston church shootings, and it applies directly to the Charlottesville neo-Nazi running over Heather Heyer and that tragedy. It doesn't have to be related to exactly what's going on. You can go out and volunteer and do literally anything. Recently, I felt this kind of way, so I started looking up what I could do and what I like. I like dogs. Francis knows this. Really like dogs. I don't think as a species we deserve dogs, because they're too good to us. There's an organization called Paws for Patriots, which gets service dogs for veterans who are struggling. Because what do veterans deserve? Happiness. They fought for our country. What brings happiness?
Dogs.
Dogs. Genius. We just gotta give all these hateful people
dogs,
like a big happy yellow lab. I know I'm taking it too lightly, but by the way, and that plays into Obama's tweet, which became the most liked tweet in history.
Well, he's one about
quoting Nelson Mandela. No one is born hating another person because of the color of their skin.
I love the photo.
Which is true.
Yeah.
It is true. It's taught. So one of the things I wanted to bring into this again, because it really does frustrate me. It's not that I want to give the person attention, but it's important to be discussed. Jason Whitlock not long ago, and that's Fox Sports 1 Jason Whitlock, had this to say, and I'll throw to the video.
You're listening to these Ivy League educated elites. I'm talking about some of these black elites that are they're caping up for the working man and for poor people. No, they're not. They're caping up for themselves. And LeBron James, although born in the hood, when you're born 6'8", 6'9", with all that athleticism, you're born on third base too.
As you just saw, LeBron James, he's 6'8", athleticism, man, with that kind of build, you're born on third base. And you just mentioned something before all of this, which is how fortunate you say you are, the same as myself, that both parents raised me. LeBron James doesn't know who his father was. How the hell is that being born on third base? Sure, in the athletic sense, in the sports sense, but what you're doing with that, it's a straw man. You're stripping all of the work that LeBron put into it and said he was born like that. He was born with the work ethic. I just don't understand how that helps anything, and that's why LeBron James shouldn't speak out about certain things, because he's not the example that should be set. LeBron James is one of the 50 most followed social media accounts in the world, and whether people believe it or not, social media is where ages 18 to 49, over 50% get their news and information. News pundits like Anderson Cooper, Sean Hannity, every side of the aisle, whichever you are, progressive, Democratic, Republican, liberal, fascist, don't care. You can combine all of them, and they wouldn't have the single reach of one LeBron James tweet, or one LeBron James video, or one LeBron James statement. So yes, as he put it, he has this platform, and thank God he is so damn good at basketball, which is the most one of the most ridiculous things in the world, because if he sucked at basketball and still had 50 million followers or whatever it is, he still should be able to speak his mind, because athletes are the same rights that we have. But thank God he's so damn good, because no one in their right mind isn't gonna pick up LeBron James. If Tom Brady wanted to speak out against this stuff too, because we think based off his history that he voted for Trump and he's a Trump supporter, maybe not in terms of what happened on Saturday, I doubt that. Tom Brady's probably a very good human being. He could speak out too. He doesn't, but he could, and one of his tweets would reach millions across the country.
Yeah, I've always said it. It's like they have a megaphone that a lot of people who are struggling and feel directly targeted by this dismissal from what has come from the Trump administration is a direct attack towards them, and they feel hopeless and powerless. Like, as I mentioned, I was on that show talking to Nessa in 97.1. She said, what's the best thing about what happens with what you do? And I say, if I get a message from one person that says that I made them feel like they weren't alone, or that someone actually did care for what was going on. And I can only imagine how many people will feel a little bit more understood by what LeBron James is saying. And that doesn't mean that there's countless people that are pissed off at what he's saying and want to voice their outrage, but I think that his message more so is actually a message of unity, because of the difference. People are saying that Donald Trump's, some people I've seen this as like, he's been more of a unifying subject than anything else because he's not placing blame on one group of people. Well, not one group of people, it's neo-Nazis. It's like, I'm pretty sure they merited the right to have most of the blame. I'm pretty sure they merited the right to have 100% of the blame.